When I purchased this very broken 2008 BMW 760 Li at a dealer auction a few months back, just like most BMWs I buy for my YouTube channel, I never thought that I would actually like it. These BMWs are the perfect prop in my YouTube theater production of the Phantom of the Engine Bay. Every BMW I've had on this channel has been a nightmare to fix. It's been a total disaster. Sometimes I can't even fix them at all entirely, and then I sell them as soon as I'm done making videos with them. But this car has been the exception to the rule, and it's so nice. I like it so much that it actually has me thinking about getting rid of my Rolls-Royce Phantom. So to recap what's happened with the 760 Li so far, I bought it for $4,500, very cheap for a V12 flagship luxury sedan, but it had a lot of issues. It was misfiring on a bunch of cylinders, but it really drove like crap. It was also leaking from various places, needed other odds and ends, and needed a very deep cleaning. Still, all this cost me $3,000, which is a lot, but not much considering I started with only $4,500 into this thing. I'm now just shy of $8,000 into this beautiful BMW that is now running and driving perfectly. And in many ways, it is a better luxury car than this Rolls-Royce Phantom, which I paid $80,000 for and then dumped a bunch of money into to fix it. But before I go into what makes this heavily depreciated 7 Series a better luxury car than the Phantom, I also want to go over the similarities, because these cars have a lot in common. Right around the new millennium, Rolls-Royce was sold off to BMW. They were originally combined with Bentley. For decades, the two luxury British marques were built basically in the same factory, on the same line, basically the same cars for decades, but then they were split off between two German companies. Bentley went to Audi, Volkswagen, and Rolls-Royce went to BMW, and that's why there's so many BMW parts in this Rolls-Royce Phantom. All right, now when I show you these things, keep in mind that when new, the Phantom was worth 4 or 5 times more than the BMW. And now that depreciation has taken hold, it's worth 10 times as much as the BMW. And they have so much of the same stuff, starting with the keys. Take a look at this. Basically, identically shaped keys with identical buttons doing the same things, but the Rolls-Royce is obviously dressed up a bit. And when you start up the cars, they make the exact same noises. Let's start with the BMW. Key goes in the slot, hit the start button. And now the Phantom. The key is on the other side, but it's the same slot, same kind of button setup. Now this dashboard does definitely look like something that was saved from the Titanic before it sank and put in this car, but hidden cleverly behind the grandfather clock here is a BMW iDrive infotainment system, the exact same one that's in the BMW 7 Series. Same knob, same everything. Adjusting the seat is also very similar because it's in the center. It's not on the side or on the door like other luxury cars. It's here in the middle. In Rolls-Royce, they hide it underneath this center console, and all the adjustments are very complicated, but it's just like the BMW, just dressed up a little bit. It's the same exact setup. In the middle console, multiple adjustments with a different knob. It's the exact same thing, just not as dressed up as the Rolls-Royce. And then there's the exhaust notes of the two of them, which it's really, really hard to tell the difference between the two cars. Maybe from the outside it sounds different, but from the inside it sounds exactly the same. Of course, from the inside of the Phantom, you can see a major difference. The Phantom uses the finest materials available to put in a car. The wood is just unbelievable. The leather, very, very soft. You can definitely see why these things were $400,000 or $500,000 new. But the BMW has a lot of luxury features that beat the Phantom, and it's actually better to drive. I believe I forgot to mention in that quietest rev battle in the history of cars that both cars have the same BMW V12 engine. Rolls-Royce bores it out a little bit, hand builds it, dresses it up to be a 6.75 liter V12, but it's pretty much the same horsepower and pretty similar acceleration figures. Both do a really good job of getting these things to go, not throw you in the back of your seat kind of performance, but still totally respectable. Now, where the BMW really shines though is when you take a turn. there is not very much body roll with this car, and most of that is because of an electronically controlled hydraulic sway bar that stops this giant land yacht from just laying into the turns. That's an issue that most land yachts are afflicted with, but in exchange you get a heavenly soft ride where the bumps are totally absorbed, so in my mind it's worth it. But with this BMW, you get the best of both. Now, one of my main gripes with BMWs is they make their sedans too sporty. So sporty that they're really uncomfortable to drive. They're basically racing cars with racing seats. With this generation of 7 Series, at least, they hadn't screwed it up yet because the suspension is still very soft and comfortable, and the seats are absolutely fantastic. Way superior to the Phantom. The Phantom, if you looked at the seats just out of context by themselves, you'd probably think they belonged in a car much older, say maybe in a Lincoln Town Car or an old British car, and that's great. They are very soft and comfortable, but the 7 Series has so much adjustment. This mid-back adjustment where you can tilt the back of the seat and then the middle back of the seat is probably my favorite part of this car. I can find the ideal seating position where I'm reclined and relaxed, but I also have support for my upper back. It's just perfect. And the backseat of this long wheelbase version BMW is much more appropriate for a CEO or a foreign dignitary because it's much more comfortable. With the Rolls-Royce, it's just a standard bench seat, looks like any other old car, but in this, they recline, they heat, they cool, you have sunshades back there. Now, obviously the quality of the interior materials isn't quite up to par with the Phantom, but it's still very nice. And one thing this car has that the Phantom does not, in its ample wood, is a beautiful inlay. This beautiful intricate inlay found throughout the wood. Also a suede headliner, and like the Phantom, you could have a whisper, quiet conversation in here with your passenger totally easily. This thing is so quiet at any speed. So obviously a Rolls-Royce Phantom is out of reach for most people. I've just been very lucky that you all seem to like watching my terrible YouTube videos, so I've been able to afford one. But now I found a BMW for less than $10,000 that is actually better than my Phantom in a lot of ways. And really anybody could afford one of these. Yes, the maintenance is a little higher, but you find a good independent mechanic like I did with Johnny at German Motor Works, and they can keep these cars going relatively affordably. I know it's weird for me to say that with a BMW, but there are some exceptions to the rules with any cars. There are bad BMWs, and there are plenty of bad BMWs out there, but there are also some good ones, and this V12 platform is actually very solid. So now I'm at the point where I actually do think I am going to sell my Rolls-Royce Phantom. The only thing really stopping me is the huge loss that I'm going to take when I sell it. It's certainly going to be the biggest loss that I've ever taken on a car, but it's still worth a lot of money, and that could buy a lot of hoopties. And a lot of hoopties is another reason why I want to get rid of this thing, and to demonstrate that, I need to get something from behind the house. So excuse me for a moment. This is a 2003 Volkswagen Beetle TDI that I bought for $800, but not for myself. It's for the car wizard. Woo! No, I didn't buy this fine piece of hoopty machinery for myself, even though I really like it. These things are really impressive. This turbo diesel engine can get 40 to 50 miles per gallon. It's a very cute little package. I love the shape of the new Beetle. I've always liked it. I'm one of those weirdos, but this thing is definitely a hoopty. It has a lot of issues, the funniest of which being this screaming person coming from under the hood whenever I floor it. But you gotta cut the car some slack because it does have 267,000 miles on it. That's further than the distance from the Earth to the moon, and clearly the owner didn't take that great a care of it based on the condition. But my mechanic, the car wizard, has been looking for a cheap Beetle TDI project, and I saw this car at the exact same dealer auction that I bought my BMW 7 Series from. So I sent him a few pictures and told him about it, and he was very excited to buy it, especially when I got it for only $800. So now I'm gonna go deliver this car to them, but along the way, I need to drop off some parts at another mechanic shop to fix one of my other luxury land yachts that I haven't seen for a very long time. Well, the TDI successfully completed its first leg of the trip to Whitewater, Kansas to Farmers Repair. I love that this dealer, they actually try to sell them broken to the public, but they'll put this piece of paper on the windshield saying, "This car may need work." Yeah, you think? So this is a weird place to have one of my hoopties in Whitewater, Kansas, but Farmers Repair is actually the best transmission rebuilder in the area, known for rebuilding Euro and import vehicles and dropping things apparently. So this is where my 1992 Mercedes 500e sits. I bought this thing, the cheapest Mercedes 500e in the USA. It may not look like much, but this is a very rare sedan that was built in cooperation with Porsche back in the day. It was very fast for its time as well, but typical of my hoopties, it needed a lot of work, the most expensive being a new transmission. The rebuild is actually complete on this car, but it's not downshifting because the kickdown cable broke while they were rebuilding it. So I ordered the part and I'm hand delivering it up here so they can finish the car, and then I'm gonna get a giant bill. So I'm gonna grab the part and drop it off, and then we'll head up to the Wizards to see my other luxury hoopty. Merry Christmas.
Isn't it beautiful?
It is.
I feel sorry for it. That's what's so cute about it.
It is a little sad Pikachu is what it is. Yes.
It's a sad Pikachu.
Sad Pikachu.
But it drove all the way up here.
I love it. I want one now. I can see why you were jonesing for one of these so bad. You had me looking out for one, but then you ended up buying my Cadillac.
Yeah.
But then this popped up. Why not both, right?
For the price, why not?
Why not both? For, yeah, $800.
It's an amazing.
How could you say no? So, you're working on my Bentley?
Yes. We've got the rear windows done. We've got the brake pumps done. The distribution valves have been replaced.
Oh, that's these things right here.
Yep.
Yeah.
2 new ones.
So no more suspension leaks.
And we're in the process of removing the steering rack.
Ah. Well,
What?
that one doesn't move, huh? Okay, it's cross-eyed. Please remember to hook that back up.
Okay, I will try to.
So you're getting close on this thing.
Yes.
1990 Bentley Turbo R that I'll own with repairs and calculating the trade a little over 20 grand, which isn't that bad for a fully sorted Bentley that I absolutely love. So as far as luxury land yachts go, I have the Rolls-Royce, I have the 500e, I have the 760, and I have this, which is a little ridiculous. And the Phantom being so expensive, it kind of makes sense for me to sell it.
Can you write it off and give it to me?
No, I can't do that.
Okay.
I need the money because I have the bill from the 500e and this, and I haven't paid Johnny yet on the 760. So that's well over $10,000 that I'm facing here right before Christmas, which is great timing. So that's another motivation to sell the Phantom. But also, I'm just a hoopty man. I drove that Beetle up. I had a great time. I really enjoyed it. This was kind of a hoopty. The 500e, really nice car, but it's kind of a hoopty. I just like cheap, old, weird cars. It's just my thing.
Yeah.
I feel like if I became a gazillionaire and got Jake Paul money, I would buy a private island and then just fill it with junk cars and
Have a
like
salvage
fly
yard.
you out there too. We can just have our own private island and a yacht and then a bunch of hoopties. It's just how I am, you know? But really, I don't know if I can sell the Phantom because, like I said earlier, I don't know if I can stomach the loss because it's worth way less than what I paid for it, and then I spent over $10,000 fixing it, so I really don't know, but I probably should. Maybe. Anybody want to buy a Phantom? It's a lot of money. Thank you for watching.